What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Coach Scott King here, and I got some information on how to write good. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Scott King. I run a DJ company in Orlando, Florida, www.djsorlando.com. And I also run a coaching business where I help people, grow their business and gain more sales. And I just got back from San Diego, and here to share some of the notes that my coach shared with me. And he's kind of a character. And the way he put it is, this is how you write good. And that's the official way how he says it. Now, this guy's made, I don't know, $50 million over the course of his career just in selling informational products. And he's no longer taking on, certain types of clients because he has, 9 and 10 figure biggest business clients that pay him a lot of money. And I want to know what that a lot of money actually means for someone who has over $50 million in sales, and then personal clients, whatever they pay him to do that. And he says it's a lot of money. And I'm just going, what does this guy consider a lot of money? Anyway, while I was there, he went over his outline on how to, write good. And he's a little bit of a character. If you guys don't know who Frank Kern is, make sure to look him up. He's one of the original online marketers, and pretty much anything that you see online today stemmed from what he was able to create. And he holds some records on how to, I don't know, we think he did $300,000 in 9 minutes, something like that, some sort of record. Anyway, I wanted to learn from this guy. In fact, I'm probably going to join his coaching circle and see where it takes me. But anyway, one of his main messages when I was in San Diego was make sure you're sending value and something that people can, actually benefit from before they go on and, purchase your products or ask for more consulting. You want to be able to help the person in front of you, because then they'll be more apt to listen to you, right? Or purchase products, or however that works out. So let's go over the outline and some of the notes that I had from the class that I was in. So this is how to write good. And this is basically like an outline of what he uses when he writes his sales letters, writes his copy. And he's big on writing. So let's just go over it. First, you want to have a clear purpose. And what is your clear purpose? You want to state your objective early, right? So let's say, I'm a DJ company. My objective is to start to convince somebody that not all DJs are the same, right? So there's a lot of noise out there, and then you want to be able to separate yourself from somebody else. That's why they would want to go with your services, because you think differently or uniquely or good to your personality type, right? And then you want to know what your call to action is, right? Well, a lot of people out there would be like, oh, their call to action should be to book my service, which is the end goal. Yet at the same time, maybe a smaller sell would be better, right? You would want them to book a consultation call, right? So that you could talk to them more about your services and tell them how valuable you are compared to other people in your market. And then you also want to plan your argument of how you're different than everybody else in the market as well. So you want to keep this outline in mind. This is the first couple of things you want to go over. And then you want to understand your audience, right? Yeah, he's talking about writing, but we can, you can apply this to anything persuasively, right? So reader's background and knowledge and purpose. So if you're a wedding DJ, right, someone's getting married probably in their 20s, and you want to understand what their background is. And you also want to understand that they do know there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of people out there calling themselves DJs. What does that actually mean? And then, you want to be the educator, right? When you're writing your piece or sales presentation or whatever. You want to understand your background's perspective. Empathy. And you can get this by asking questions if you're in a sales pitch, or if you've done many sales pitches and you get consistently the same questions, then you'll understand, where their mindset is, type thing. So what is their existing knowledge and beliefs? Basically, maybe they think all DJs are the same. What are you doing up there just pushing buttons? What's actually going on? And then you want to know what their motivations and concerns are. And what do they want or don't want, right? They definitely want a good DJ for their wedding day, and they don't have to worry about, are you keeping on time? Are you playing the right music for the audience? Do you have the gear to be able to sound good during a ceremony? Those types of things, right? And then you want your evidence and support, right? Factual data, like how many events you've done in the past and how you've come to the information that you have now. And then maybe you believe a certain type of way, or maybe it's a false belief. And then your whole point with writing all of this is to shift thinking, right? And then you have, expert opinions. Well, like for me, coaching, like, hey, look, I know a lot of people out there may think X, Y, and Z, but I went to San Diego and learned from somebody who made $50 million, and this is how he operates. And learning how somebody who's been successful, how they operate, would be beneficial because a lot of noise out there. I'd rather just learn from someone who's done it before, because there's a lot of people out there that may think that they know, right? Because they got a little bit of information. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Make sure to look that up. Somebody who has a little bit of information ends up being the loudest because they think they know everything. And well, that's just a case study, and that's for sure. And you would probably want to explain that in your writing as well. Something, well, back to a wedding DJ. You may think that all DJs only play whatever they want to play and don't care about their client, and then you'd want to shift that belief with expert opinions. Well, that what I've found is the ones that make the most money are the ones that listen to their clients and do their best to take their expertise with what their client needs are and merge those two things together. And then you'd use examples. You'd probably go online and find some different posts and things like that, and testimonials work out pretty good. Oh, I've used this guy before and he's really good and he really cares about his clients and that kind of thing. And then of course, you'd want to put this all into a structure, right? So introducing your position early. Hey, look, I know you think out there a lot of DJs are jokers, but let me show you how, we do things a little bit differently over here. Well, organized argument, right? Like, hey, I get it. There's a lot of people out there that think they know what they're doing. Yet, wouldn't you want to go with somebody who does know what they're doing because they have the background? And then you could be like, well, this is what this client said, and this is what this other client said. And then, clear reasoning in data. I don't know how you get data. Let me think about that for a second. Probably get data from, again, people and testimonials, and, showing people that you're organized. You can, show them your CRM system. If you don't have a CRM system, make sure to comment down below. And then recognize counter arguments. So there's so many different objections anybody could have, like, oh, your price is too high, or, what does a DJ really matter? That kind of thing. And then clear defense for counter arguments. Well, you could, but this is the part where you could inject a little bit of fear, right? Like, what if you get somebody that's no good and doesn't show up for your wedding? Like, again, there's a lot of jokers out there. And then conclusions that reinforce your stance. Like, hey, look, I know a lot of people think this, yet I was able to do this, and this is the results that I got. I can show you my business growth. There was one example that comes to mind. Like, I was telling everybody not to put their prices on their website, and then I had a DJ hit me up. He goes, most people won't even look at you if you don't have your prices on your website. And then I was able to show him that my stats have kept going up, and I don't have my prices on my website. So again, you want to take this outline and then apply it to whatever direction you want to take your reader, right? Or your lead or your customer. And then you want, of course, establish authority and expertise. Show that you're the professional in the field, that they've done the research. Maybe you went to the wedding MBA or something like that, and you've got information. And then again, there's a lot of information out there that could be conflicting, right? Like, oh, we've done this and this works for us, and we've done this, which is the opposite, but it works for us. But you want to be able to do whatever is most comfortable, for you and your business, and then you won't know what that is unless you've tried a bunch of different things, right? So I was on a call with somebody, and he was like, oh, I have my prices on my website. And I was like, well, if they just look at your prices and then they wander off, then you have no way to, reconnect with them. So I was like, don't change what you got going on, but maybe if you had a pop-up window that's like, oh, if you want to know what our prices are, make sure to put your email into our system, and then you can look at our prices, and that way you have a way to reconnect with them later down the line. Like, oh yeah, again, whichever way you want to sway the argument. And if it works for you, then fine, great, keep going with it. And then again, acknowledge objections. Like, hey, look, my coach, right? He's like, hey, look, this might be hard. And as long as you acknowledge it, yeah, this is gonna be a little bit hard, but that's what makes all the difference, right? And then of course your tone and style, like be authentic, be who you are. And I've been using this formula ever since I went to San Diego, and I had the professional, explain it to me. I've been putting this inside of my Instagram post, and I look back to this PDF or this outline whenever I go to write something. And there was another thing in there, just depending on what you want to argue. Like inside in San Diego, he was talking about in order to persuade a lawyer, right? he was using the argument that maybe you think you'd want to use or persuade a judge. In order to persuade a judge, you think a lawyer would want to use all this technical jargon in order to showcase how professional they are. Yet he showed up on the screen that if you just use common language, that's more likely to persuade a judge than it is to be showing off your verbiage, which I found kind of exciting. And then also, he was also showing on the screen, you know, how some people have health insurance and it doesn't cover certain problems that somebody could have. And if you wanted to persuade at health insurance, which is somebody who, you know, would be looking to get out of paying any extra bills that they wouldn't want to pay anyway, that you would use a certain type of verbiage. And you may think it's this way, but it doesn't have to be. In fact, it would probably better to look the other way. So again, a lot of people out there, they probably have like fake beliefs that was given to them by somebody who didn't know what they were talking about to begin with, right? So just keep that in mind as you're moving forward. And, you know, writing social posts or sitting down with a client, and that they have all these different types of beliefs, and then you want to make sure to give them the most clear-cut information, you know, because you're the professional. And treat yourself like the professional. And if you start letting your clients, you know, think they're the professional, even though they don't do it every week or it's not what they do for a living, and yet they're probably going to run into you, you know, one or two times, you know, especially if you're doing mobile events. Let's just say weddings one time. And again, if you found this information useful, make sure to follow, like, follow, like, subscribe, something like that. Help me out with the algorithm right there. And if you want to learn more, if you want to sit down and talk more about what your strategy is, you know, give me a shout, and I'll be posting some more videos here real soon. And I'll catch you on the next one. All right. Thanks, guys.